We are Tamrin, Neel, and Ashwin, and today we will be presenting on our volunteering experience at Kinney High School.
We had a variety of goals for our service learning project, and the first of these was to develop an understanding of lower socioeconomic backgrounds. The majority of students that attend Kinney High School and other continuation high schools experience some kind of poverty and are from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. The second goal was to identify factors that impact education of students in continuation schools. Contrary to popular belief, the students at continuation high schools aren't bad, unmotivated kids, but they have factors outside of their control, such as the aforementioned socioeconomic ones, that affect their ability to perform well in school in a negative way. Our third goal was to clear up misconceptions and biases surrounding continuation schools and the students that go there. And our final goal was to apply the insights we gained to our future healthcare professions, whether that be in cultivating a good bedside manner or understanding a greater variety of patients' troubles better.
Kinney High School is a continuation high school located in Rancho Cordova. Students come to Kinney because they are behind in credits. They may be behind in credits because of attendance. 73% of the 132 students enrolled at Kinney are economically disadvantaged, which means their attendance is influenced by factors out of their control, like availability of transportation, family needs, job schedules, and other circumstances. Although many students in continuation schools are there involuntarily, labeled struggling by their high schools, some parents and students actively choose these schools because students are struggling with a comprehensive school setting and need a smaller school. With an average class size of 20, teachers are able to give more attention to each student. To graduate from Kinney, you need 200 credits, must pass Integrated Math 1 and pass Integrated Math 2 foundations. Attendance is very important. Students earn 1 credit in each class every 3 weeks for completing classroom work and being present. Educational services vary widely depending on the resources the local education agency dedicates to continuation high schools. Kinney was named one of 32 model continuation high schools in 2018, which means that the high school is supported by adequate resources from its district. Unfortunately, when people hear the words continuation high school, they don't think of a smaller school intended to help students who are not able to do well in a normal high school for a variety of different reasons. Instead, people have the misconception that continuation high schools are nothing but trouble. The work is oversimplified and all the bad students end up there. The misconception that continuation high schools should be avoided at all costs makes some students who are sent there reconsider finishing high school. Some students end up being pushed out because they don't want to go to a school that they think may be full of hostile kids who are always starting fights, dealing drugs, and getting involved in gangs. All of this is related to structural and social determinants. In high school, I also had the misconception that continuation high schools were where all the troublemakers went, where all the kids who never showed up to school went, where all the people who didn't try ended up. Sometimes a kid would show up to class once in a while, and then they'd be gone, and everyone knew that they got sent to Cal Hills. For a long time I didn't really know what Cal Hills was. From the way the other students would talk about Cal Hills, it seemed like it was a place, maybe a school, where all the kids who frequently got in trouble ended up. It wasn't until later on I learned it was a continuation high school. If I hadn't watched the documentary Paper Tigers in service learning before going to Kinney High, I would have gone in with a lot of hurtful misconceptions.
The concept and theory that we picked was the social and structural determinants of health. Social determinants of health are conditions that affect people throughout their lives. People are born, grow, live, and work in conditions that shape health and future success. Some include factors such as socioeconomic status, education, neighborhood, physical environment, social support networks, and access to healthcare. In relation to Kinney High School, some of these factors are in play with the students at the school. Kinney High School is a continuation high school, meaning that the students have not graduated high school and are at risk of not graduating. It is highly likely that the social structural determinants of health are contributing to the students falling behind in credits. For the purposes of this presentation, we will be applying a few of the factors to these students and how they may be affected. The factors to be applied are availability of transportation and educational opportunities and social support.
Now we will apply availability of transportation and educational opportunities and social support to the students at Kinney High School. Ms. Pachones said that a lot of the students do not have a consistent way to get to school, so it is rare to have everyone there every single day. I noticed this throughout my first few weeks of volunteering. For example, I saw some new faces every week. Also, I did not see some faces that I had seen during my first week at the high school. This has to do with the location of where the students live. Many low-income students rely on unreliable public transportation and as a result may arrive late to class. This may cause the impression of noncompliance and irresponsibility, even though this is not the case. The students' socioeconomic conditions prevent them from having adequate transportation options, which hinder their education. One experience that Neel shared with us was that there is a lack of or a perceived lack of educational opportunities which may hinder the academic performance of the kids. Many of the students he met have expressed interest in learning a trade, such as carpentry or automobile mechanics. There is no inherent problem with such aspirations, but many students have expressed the view that attending college is a lofty or unattainable goal. More support in helping the students navigate college applications and learning about majors could open up more opportunities for them. It could also motivate them to participate more in their classes. While these students are just in high school, they are called social and structural determinants of health because these ongoing trends can negatively affect anyone's health in the future if they are exposed to them consistently. This is why being aware of these determinants of health is essential to prevent long-term negative impacts.
As future doctors, the experience of volunteering at Kinney High School has provided us with insight on how to interact with patients from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. First of all, this experience has reinforced the idea that we cannot and should not judge patients on a moral level. What this means is that we have to understand that negative health decisions or conditions that a patient may have could be due to factors outside of their control. This is analogous to the fact that the poor academic performance of some students at Kinney High was influenced by external factors such as food insecurity, turbulent households, violence, and a lack of transportation on a consistent basis. Understanding what patients may have gone through can also improve interactions with those patients. Being sensitive to what they may have gone through can allow for the development of a greater level of trust, a greater relationship with the patient, and therefore a better diagnosis.
From my experience, I was able to enhance my communication skills as well as increase my public awareness of societal issues. By learning about service learning concepts in class, I immediately recognized how applicable these concepts were on my first day in Miss Pachones' class.
I learned not to make assumptions about economic status based on outward appearance. For example, clothes and accessories. I was reminded of this when Miss Pachones was talking about her visit to the doctor with her son. I also learned that people may behave a certain way as a response to stress of their situations. As a future healthcare provider, I can't assume someone's economic status based on what they might wear. I also have to acknowledge some behaviors are defense mechanisms.
The first thing I learned during my time at Kinney was that I needed to adjust my expectations. The topics that I found easy in high school were easy for me because I had a supportive environment and steady home life, which allowed me to focus on school and academics. Many of the students at Kinney do not have these benefits. I also learned that many factors that I had previously taken for granted, such as access to transportation and food, are luxuries for some. The lack of things such as transportation and even a steady food source affected the students at Kinney in multiple areas of their lives. Finally, I learned to become comfortable in an environment where the majority of people there had a drastically different background than myself. Before we finish, we would like to thank Mrs. Pachones as well as the entire service learning team, including Moira, Rangane, and Dr. Braxton, for their guidance and insight and for providing us with this unforgettable learning experience. Thank you for listening.